The ministry emphasized the importance of preserving the unity and territorial integrity of Sudan and reiterated strong support for the effort aimed at finding a peaceful solution to the ongoing conflict in the country. The attack came as a conflict between Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces RSF continues unabated. The fighting since April 2023 has killed thousands, displaced millions, and led to one of the world's most humanitarian crises. The Sudanese army blamed the attack on RSF. The peacekeepers were part of the UN Interim Security Force for Abyei, UNSFA, deployed in the disputed oil-rich border region administered by Sudan and the neighboring nation of South Sudan. One person has been confirmed dead following a bee attack on supporters of the National Democratic Congress (NDC) in the Mandai district, north region of Ghana, after a campaign program. Local media reported that the disease and the December 14 incident was a chief who was riding a motorbike when he was attacked. The attack occurred shortly after the party concluded its campaign activities. Some residents have attributed the incident to spiritual causes, describing it as a curse. Investigations are ongoing to determine the exact circumstances surrounding the incident. The incident comes amid heightened political activity in Mandai, where the Electoral Commission has scheduled a paramilitary election rerun for Tuesday, December 30, 2025. In another development, Ghana's political class has been thrown into mourning after the former member of parliament for Salvulgo, Mary Salifo Boforo, was reported to have passed away. Boforo's death was reported by Fatia Abdulaziz, the current MP for Salvulgo, in a Facebook post on December 13, 2025. Though the cause of death was not stated, the former MP's demise has been described as a blow to Ghana's politics. Still in the news, Kenya's National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has described the rising number of road accidents ahead of the festive season. Wetangula issued a statement on Monday cautioning road users and emphasizing the need to obey traffic rules following the accident involving the Easy Coach bus around Salga. At least 28 people were injured in an accident involving an Easy Coach bus and a trailer along the Nkaru-Kisumu highway. According to witnesses, the bus was traveling from Nairobi to Kisumu last night when it reportedly collided with the trailer. You're watching the African News and Voice of the People television, and it's time for the news analysis. And joining us in the studio to help make sense of the story that made it to the bulletin that we've read out to you thus far is a legal practitioner, a public and political affairs analyst, Barrister Darlington Agomo. Good afternoon, Barrister Darlington.
Good afternoon, beautiful Fina. How are
Stop
you?
it and like it, Barrister. You're welcome to today's African News.
It's my pleasure.
Without wasting much time, let's start off with crashes, the auto crashes that was registered somewhere, in Nairobi, where we learned from the National Speaker of the Kenyan's National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, that the rising number of the road accident in this festive period is quite increasing. And let's also look at the fact that we learned that this happened yesterday when an Easy Coach bus had a head-on collision with a trailer while moving on roads from Nairobi to a certain village or metropolitan community in Kenya. What do you have to say about this, the fatal accident, or rather the number of accidents that do occur during this festive period?
You know, in Africa, we are too fetish. Most times, these things don't just happen. People do all these things for one useless reason or the other.
You mean causing an accident on the highway?
Of course. Then two, the roads in Africa are nothing to write home about. When you see some sports cars in US, and if you go to Detroit and see some of these wonders on wheel that they produce, some of them are so flat on the ground, and you'll be wondering, these fast racing cars, Now, why they were able to do those cars because of their roads. They are past that stage of road problem and all that. You can't accuse them of that. So because of their road, they build such cars to suit their road. And so when some foolish people who want to demonstrate their stolen wealth, when they see this car, they go and buy it. And when they buy it and bring it to Africa, the tire will be struggling with the road.
You think is it a bad road now, or the inability of the people to obey traffic rules? Because we've seen people, overspeeding above the speed limits and not observing the road signs too.
Why is it at this particular time of the year that they?
Some people, I don't know if you've heard that also, that this period have one or two things in the air. The atmosphere is already changing. A whole lot of persons were in a rush. What they couldn't achieve in 11 months, they want to achieve that just this month of December.
There's this belief that Satan wants to balance his account. The year is running out. So he wants to make sure that he met his target. And people now play into his hands by doing the unthinkable. And after you blame Satan.
Now, if you say that it is fetish belief, what do you have to say about a certain a politician in Ghana who he learns died after bees, I think some bees stung him somewhere in the district, northern region of Ghana, after a campaign. Some have said that it's spiritual, it's more like a curse. And we learned that investigations are underway to find out what really happened. Okay. Why would the bee attack the chief? And
What are you investigating? You want to investigate why a bee stung a man?
You never can tell what really played out.
So what would the investigator find out? You will go and query the bee or what? You can't be afraid. Look, when I told you this thing, I am sure of what I'm saying. Africa, we are too fetish, especially during campaign or during this festive period and all that. Things happen. Things happen. African politics is littered with fetish practice. At times, the opponent who is coming for a campaign, he will develop one terrible sickness that will make sure he does not appear in that campaign. Maybe after the campaign or whatever, he will not become well again. All of a sudden, without even medical attention, he will become well again.
All right, let's move away from the fetish stories or what you've tagged Africa as becoming too fetish to the ones staring out on the eyes. Now, we learned that some peacekeepers were killed in a drone attack in Sudan, and this have made countries like Turkey, to criticize this. Even the United Nations also have talked about this. At what point are we going to see peace or almost a return to Sudan? What is really happening? Why are we having, because according to the report, we learned that some, I think over 6 or 7 Bangladeshis were killed when they were on mission, peacekeeping in Sudan.
One thing with technology is that whenever you develop any technology, be ready for the consequences. All of a sudden, it is not drone attack. Is that the only thing that drone was meant for, to serve? Is it not when there is a full-scale war, then the warring parties can now deploy it against each other to score a point? But now they are deploying it in a civilian setting without thinking of the consequences. These innocent people that they killed now, who will account for them? And who even deployed the drones? You can see what we are talking about here. Whenever the Western world develop a technology, instead of Africans to put it into good use for their own good, they would rather deploy it into evil purposes. By the way, the war in Sudan, is it not going to end? Now that they are deploying drones and all that, over what? What actually is the problem with that country? Are you sure that this drone attack is from the other party, the warring party?
We learned that the military in Sudan have blamed the RSF for the attack, though RSF are yet to deny it, but they have distanced themselves for it, because from what we're getting now, Antonio Guterres have made it look more like the people, or both team now, both parties will go in for war crime. What would this portend for Sudan after this whole war maybe must have ended and, normalcy restored and all that? What are we going to blame for the loss of life of thousands of people and displacement of millions too?
anytime I have the opportunity of being the analyst, I always tell the UN and the ICC to make sure that these parties fighting an ego war in Sudan are brought in for questioning. They must not spare these warring leaders in Sudan, because the war they are fighting is a useless and senseless war that have created the worst humanitarian crisis in the whole world. Do you know what it means for 11 million people to become refugees in their own country? Imagine the humanitarian, the sanitary condition in that area. Imagine the environment these people are squatting. Imagine other things that these people are going to grapple with because you're a refugee. You don't have rights. People are just trying to survive. 11 million people. Which type of aid will go around to meet their demand on a daily basis? Which type of aid? Who will supply the aids? So, if the UN is calling now for the prosecution of this war, yes, I agree with them. Those people should be brought in, Savakir and the deputy or whatever. All of them should go in to explain to the whole world what they were even fighting in the first place. If not an ego war, who will be in charge? Who will control the mineral resources?
Barrister, some countries have been fingered or been accused of fueling further these wars or the crisis in this oil-rich country. What do you have to say about that? Because we have some people denying it, some are saying no. We have also seen a situation whereby some United Nations countries that have the right to produce arms, we've seen their arms too, getting it into these war-torn countries in Africa. So who are we supposed to hold accountable now? The people supplying the arms, people who are still adding fuel to the fire, or what?
It is the people that are fighting that I blame. Because the warring parties are looking for sponsorship. And the only way they can get it is to do exchange with their oil. Yes, you give us and then we take the oil. That's what they are doing.
So what's the justification of the countries who are aiding in one way or another, or who are supporting the warring parties to continue with the war by giving them arms, knowing fully well, that is going to lead in further armed proliferation and more killings in that country? I
will not blame those countries. I will never blame those. I will blame the warring parties who do not have sense. Are you not the one that called for them to give you such assistance? So how is that their problem? You are the one that requested for their help through supply or whatever. So, and they have the product. Won't they sell it? You are the foolish one who invited them. And you are using this arms and ammunition to kill your own people. Your own people. There are more civilian casualties than there are the military in the battlefield. What does that tell you? It shows you that this is a senseless war. And the leadership of Sudan should be brought in.
A senseless war? Yeah. And since 2023 till 2025, the war is still ongoing.
It's ongoing, yes. And there's no letting down. They are still continuing. As if they win one party win the war, he will go to heaven because of that. If he wins the war, they will give him certificate for being a hero. You know, there are things you do. You ask yourself, why am I doing this? What exactly am I doing? This is why I call it a senseless war, because at the end of the day, you have nothing to gain but everything to lose. You are destroying your own country. You are destroying your infrastructure. You are destroying your people. You are destroying your economy. So if after the war comes to an end, you will start all over again to rebuild all these things. You can see.
All right, Boris, so let's go to Tunisia, where we learned that activists and opposition figures are organizing political rally or protest now against the president, Kais Saied, demanding an end to one-man rule and restoration of democracy in Tunisia. This protest, according to information we have, been there. It follows a 3-week demonstration carried out by the people too in Tunisia to end what they believe. It's more like a way for the president to stifle dissent in that country. And Wilat is getting momentum too, because many people are beginning to join this protest. Do you think in any way that the president of Tunisia will listen to the call or demands of the people and maybe find a way to release the people that have been already arrested and sent to prison over their stand in his rulership or leadership?
You know, people refuse to learn from history. Fina, did you remember when the Arab Spring happened?
Exactly.
Eh? Is it not because of minor issues like this you think it's a joke until the entire Arab world caught fire? Eh? These people have not learned anything. Seriously, they have refused to learn. Maybe a second Arab Spring is loading. That's the way I look at it. Because there's no reason why the president could, if you want to reform people, if you want to fight corruption, it's not by doing it with impunity. Go through the process and nobody will complain.
But he said he's cleansing the country from traitors and even corrupt elites. So is there any way that the president is going to go all out to cleanse the country without arresting people or without sending people to prison, for one default to another? Because that's what he's saying. Since 2021, when we have the man took over, Said took over there, the country of Tunisia as a president, we've been hearing sending of opposition members, to prison and all that. Is there anything wrong in someone trying to cleanse the country with it off of traitors and corrupt elites?
There is everything wrong if you are not following due process. There is everything wrong if you are not deferring to the court to detain anybody. There is everything wrong if you begin to take the laws into your hand by clamping people into jail and all that. There is everything wrong if the people you are attacking are mainly opposition. You mean in your own camp, there is no corrupt person there. These are issues now. You can't just face the opposition and say they are the only corrupt people. Bring everybody on board and nobody will complain. That's what we are saying here.
So you think this is a political witch hunt?
Is it not obvious? Since they said that it's the opposition, it's only the opposition that is causing problems.
Do you think that this, hundreds of persons marching across the capital, even politicians, journalists, and activists, turning the protest into what some people have come up to say is a total showdown? Do you think it's going to gain such momentum that will make Sayed to look the other way, and instead of turning the country to an open-air prison, because that's what some people are saying now, release the people that have been sent to prison too and let them walk freely, when he is saying that his major goal or aim is to make sure that there will not be any corrupt elite again in Tunisia?
Look, whether he like it or not, the more people he put into detention, the more the opposition will grow until something will give. Yes, if that president knows himself, let him go through the law courts. Let him go through the due process. In what? In cleansing the country, if at all that is what he wants. But for you to see the opposition as the only corrupt or the only person who is not behaving well in Tunis is very wrong. It's very, very wrong. You cannot tell me that in your own part of the whatever, in your own group, there is no corrupt person. Your government, all the ministers, everybody, nobody is corrupt.
So, Barrister, what do you think this time, Africans should do, especially those countries that we have high-handedness from their leaders? We have Tanzania. We have Tanzania also, they are complaining about arrests, sentencing or incarceration of members of the opposition. It played out also sometime in Cameroon after the election that brought in Paul Biya into office. Now we're seeing it play out in Tunisia. Even Uganda is not, cannot be free or cannot totally be free from such. What do you think that the people of those countries should do for, their voice or dissent now to be heard in general there? And what role, again, do you think that African Union should play in making sure that democracy is restored the way it should be in those countries?
African Union should wade in into some recalcitrant governments who are their members, and the opposition, they should continue, they should keep up the protest. They should resist whatever is going on in their country so that leaders will come to their senses. One of the reasons why Africa is not growing is because of this type of thing. Somebody will come into office, he wants to remain in office forever. Donald Trump of America, with all the powers he has, can he ever try such a nonsense? To change the constitution and remain in power? He cannot even dare. The very day he opens his mouth and says, that day they will impeach him. And so, why is it not happening in Africa? What exactly do you want to offer that you have not offered over, that you have to, amend the constitution and everything so to remain in power? The ones you rule, what is the dividend? What is the benefit to the people? At least when somebody is saying, I want to finish or whatever, I want to remain in office, but you have been there for how many years, like for Biya? Well, where is Cameroon in the power loop and in economic whatever? Nowhere. So your continued stay in office is becoming a nuisance. You have overstayed your welcome. That's the more reason why you should serve your time and leave. Let somebody come in. Maybe that person have a better idea. The essence of democracy is lost in Africa. Fina, you are aware? The essence of democracy is, in fact, is dwindling in Africa. People no longer want to serve and live. They want to serve and stay there. Is that democracy? It cannot be democracy now. So when they are calling for a coup, they should not blame anybody.
Barrister, now you've made mention.
But that change of constitution is a coup on its own. Are you aware? When you wake up and change the constitution to benefit you, you have carried out a constitution.
But they have the parliament. They have the National Assembly in those countries. So what is their duty if they cannot represent the people, members of their constituency who voted them in? Why should they allow a single entity to have such power? What then plays out? What then will not be the fate of, how do they put it again? During government, we thought about division of power, separation of power, checks and balances. If we keep on blaming the executive, what role is the legislative arm and the judiciary arm playing in those countries, Barrister?
Is it the parliament that was appointed or elected? Because there are two of them. There is a parliament that is appointed, and there is a parliament that is elected by the people to represent the people. And so when you have a parliament that was appointed by the executive, my dear, you don't have a parliament there. You don't, seriously. Let us not deceive ourselves. But when you see a parliament that was elected by the people, they campaigned, they provided their manifesto and other, and the people welcome it and say, okay, because of this and that, I'm voting you. Such a parliament can checkmate the executive. Not the parliament that the executive appointed. Don't expect anything from them. It's not possible. They cannot do anything except to kowtow with the executive. And so that is where we find ourselves. All right. I'm telling you.
Let's bring it to West Africa, where we learned that the Economic Community of West African States are beginning to talk tough about the continuous or rising level of coups in West Africa. We're told also that the fourth Guinea-Bissau coup happens to be the 9th in West Africa and also in Central Africa in 5 years. Barrister, what do you have to say about this? After the ECOWAS rejected the transition program announced by Guinea-Bissau military rulers and demanded a swift return to constitutional order, they've warned about targeted sanction against people who are sponsoring coups in Africa, especially in their bloc in West Africa, and trying to obstruct any process of democracy.
This ECOWAS is blowing just hot air. They don't have the ball to do anything. If not, why have they not reined in the Confederation of Sahel States, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, why have they not reined them in, all of them at the same time, instead of just singling out somebody and say, you must return to constitutional order? Because, you see, when they see all these smaller states, they begin to flex their muscles as if, these states I mentioned now, because Guinea-Bissau is a small country, because Gambia is a small, you can have their flexing their muscles to these countries and their leaders. But these other ones that have direct collaboration with Russia, they cannot threaten them. They can't. They can't give Niger, Burkina Faso that order. They can't. So If you are not ready to implement or carry out a holistic approach to this thing, why are you doing it? Why are you saying it? You are just wasting your time. Must you single out Guinea-Bissau? Why have you not told Burkina Faso and Niger to quickly return to democracy and see whether they will talk to you or answer you? So what ECOWAS is saying, they are just wasting their time. They have no power to do anything.
When you say they don't have any power to do anything, let's take a cue from what played out in Benin Republic, where they send in their standby. But before, Barrister, do you have any idea of the camp of the standby military that ECOWAS have? Because we learned that they sent in their standby troop to make sure that normalcy is restored. And even Nigeria also help out in sending both Air Force and also for soldiers to Benin Republic to return, every form of governance back to normalcy in that country.
If they have a standby for, why were they calling on Nigeria? Can you just imagine? Please, you are in this body to protect you, to be of assistance when you need them. So how come when there was a coup, the president had to call Nigeria and not ECOWAS leader? Does it make sense to you? Please, does it add up? So why would ECOWAS be there and they are calling on Nigeria? That means Nigeria is the ECOWAS or what? The standby force that we are now paying for, are they not Nigerians? The embarrassment and the bloody note they are giving us in Burkina Faso now by seizing our airplane and our military. Who is suffering it? Is it not Nigeria? Look, there is no standby force anywhere. There is no standby force. If there is, some of the things that have happened in Africa, they should have taken care of it.
Now, Barrister, let's talk a little about the 11 military personnel and our C-130 aircraft that was seized in Burkina Faso. Why are we having, because I could recall some time when we saw a report to say that the government is already on it, people have been released or the personnel have been released and all that. Why are we having more like a conflicting information coming out from that? And why is it that Burkina Faso, after Nigerian personnel have already gotten enough clearance for them to land due to the faulty nature of the aircraft, is still holding the aircraft and the military personnel till today?
Because they violated their airspace.
But they seek for clearance, which they granted, Barrister. So if they thought or if they perceive it to be violation of their airspace, two things would have happened. Is it that they use force to send them away or bombard them or pull them out of the airspace? So why is it that after they have seeked clearance, they let them land and then I went ahead to confiscate the aircraft and also detain the military personnel?
Fina, were you there when they sought for the clearance and when they received it and they asked them to land? Were you there?
We had information.
So, you see, please, if that is the normal thing that happened, if events were to follow the normal course of things in an emergency, that plane and those men will not remain in Burkina Faso up till now. They will not.
So you perceive a foul play?
Of course, it's obvious.
So could that be the reason the Nigerian government is not really being so tough talking about it?
If it's an emergency, in fact, they will even sympathize with them and ask them to, go back and, But something happened. They brought down that plane on their own. There was no clearance for anybody to land.
Of what benefit would that move be for Nigeria in Burkina Faso, Barrister? When you say they just decided to invade another sovereign nation's airspace, of what reason would that be? Of what gain or benefit is that going to be to Nigeria?
They wanted to flex their muscle to tell them that they are the giants of Africa. Not knowing that these guys have advanced airspace defense system. They never knew, they never thought what they witnessed in Burkina Faso is possible. They never thought so. And so, now that they tried and they got a bloody nose, they don't know how to... Remember the lies that followed this thing. They are traveling to Portugal, and they did not arrest anybody. Our men are not in, they are released them. Back and forth, nobody wants to come out with the truth. Nobody. And so, if it is something that happened in the normal course of things, in the normal course of events, my dear, nobody will detain that plane and those men because they were not, violating anybody's airspace. By the way, have you asked yourself why this had to happen? The day Republic of Benin happened. Have you asked yourself that question? Pina, of all the days on earth, it had to be that day that Burkina Faso was, that Republic of Benin was happening. It had to be that day that you want to go for the twin maintenance in Portugal. Did you buy the plane from Portugal? Are you not supposed to go to where you bought it for maintenance? Please tell me.
We have different checks on the aircraft. You can go for C check, which is taking it back to the country of origin, like where it was manufactured. You can also have other checks that can be done somewhere, maybe in Morocco, depending on the aircraft and its brand.
Like Z check, Abi, and then Q check, Abi, and equally B and W check. They want to check. What are they going to check? What happened to the aircraft?
Are we seeing this Burkina Faso story coming to an end anytime soon? Are we seeing both countries resolving this? Because I'm of the opinion that, we can find a way to solve this amicably without having any issues coming out of it. Because the more it looks like it's going to brew into, more like a row, which maybe both countries might not be able to handle well. And if it's not being contained the way it should, it can spiral into something larger than we are seeing it already.
What will you, can you face, you are not finished with the ragtag bandits in your country. You want to cross over to the border to go and do what with Burkina Faso. Go and try them now, and you know whether they happen or not.
But we're able to suspend the coup that was to take place in Benin Republic. So if you think we don't have what it takes or the wherewithal for us to do it, why is it that we're able to suspend
the
military takeover?
True talk, yes. Because a man beat up his pregnant wife at home. Because a man beat up his pregnant wife at home. Therefore, that man is powerful, Abi. No, that man is powerful.
Boris, are you saying here?
What is the Burkina Faso to Nigeria that is not even up to one of the states in Nigeria?
Boris, are you saying that the leadership of ECOWAS, after their annual summit in Nigeria, in Abuja to be precise, are you saying that this call, the immediate release for all political detainees, opposition figures, and every other thing, even their insistive nature that there must be an act of inclusiveness and everything in most of the countries that we're having, military rule, are you saying it's not going to yield any fruit?
It is not, because both the AU and the ECOWAS, they are toothless bulldogs.
Why is it that EU, European Union, were able to have their house in order and as large and big as they are, but Africa, with just few countries, cannot put their house in order and have a common force and a very strong voice?
You are a third world country. In a third world country, things don't work well. Can't you get it? That's why Donald Trump is shipping into Africa the drag of American society who left prisons. Look at that. People that Donald Trump rejected, he just find their way into Africa. That will tell you that this place is a dumping ground for those whose head is not correct. So how can something good come out of you? No, answer me. You can see the reason. We are talking of the problem at home that we are battling with. Donald Trump is now shipping more, and your country, your leaders are accepting them for a few dollars more. You know that film that started by what's his name? Oh my God!
No, I think it's few countries in Africa. From what we got from Eswatini, we're told that yes, money exchange hands through the revelation made by the minister. But we didn't see that playing out in Nigeria. South Africa also did not take anything.
Wait now. Other countries that did not receive the people, they have enough of them at home already. They are grappling with them. Please, how do you bring an ex-convict from America into Nigeria? We are bandits already having a free day. I think that is what informed the Nigeria. Say, look, we have enough of these people here. Don't bring more here now.
Barrister, I believe that Africa is great, and I believe we're going to. Yes, I believe we're great. And if we're not great, I don't see the reason the people that called. I have a problem with that third world country. I have a problem with that. Yes, I do. I have a very big problem with it. And I don't see the reason the people that think that they are so superior over the blacks will go in for scrambling and partitioning and divisioning of Africa to the point that some of them refused going by embracing the policy of assimilation. After the Berlin Conference of 1884, 1885, till today, we still have them more like everywhere, littered around, not moving over to their superior nature after tagging us inferior. I have a very big problem with that.
Look, that a man is equal to another man is by mouth. In reality, all men are not born equal.
If they wake up to say, or rather according to what you're saying now, if we are not equal, then why be? Why associate? Why still hold on firm? Why still have your grip on the soil that you think is superior to you?
Please, don't blame these people. They came to civilize you.
No, we were civilized before now. I bet to disagree with you, Barrister Darlington.
Listen.
Africa is a cradle of civilization. From South Africa, we have the papyrus that we'll be using and all that. So I bet to disagree when people will say they want to civilize. You don't want to civilize. We were already living a civilized life before they come. We can recall what played out where we have some people from Portugal coming into Benin City in Nigeria. The testimonies of Roy and I think Avelo de Sucre or something like that were of the opinion that they say that the streets in Benin, to start with, is broader than that of the Amsterdam Strait. So they made us understand that we were more civilized than they were before the invasion happened. Some people in Africa also say we don't need them. We don't need any foreign encroachment. It played out in the Benin War, the Zulu War, and all that. So why are we still having such play out? If you're playing the card of superiority now, so why won't you go on to your superior nature and live there and let those you've tagged inferior be on their own?
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's like you like talking, Abi.
I'm just asking the question.
Oh, no, don't worry, come. What has Africa invented that will benefit mankind that Europe and America are coming here to look at?
A whole lot.
What have you invented?
We'll discuss that after the camera. My producer just told me that in press for time.
If not for the whites in South Africa, the economy of South Africa would have, in fact, they would have been killing themselves up to now.
The question is, why won't the Boers still leave? Why do they stay even after that? But Barrister, we're pressed for time. We're pressed for time.
Tell me what you have invented.
A whole lot. We'll discuss that after the news analysis. Thank you so much, Barrister Darlington Agomo. You're watching the African News, and we have with us in the studio a legal practitioner, a public and political affairs analyst, Barrister Darlington Agomo. Thank you for being part of today's African News. We'll go on a quick break, and when we'll come back, the rest of the news continues. Do what to stay with us.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Glad to have you back. It's still the African News and Voice of the People Television. Libya's National Museum, formerly known as Saraya Alhambra or the Red Castle, has reopened in Tripoli, allowing the public access to some of the country's finest historical treasures for the first time since the revolt that toppled Muammar Gaddafi. The museum, Libya's largest, was closed in 2011 during a NATO-backed uprising against longtime ruler Gaddafi, who appeared on the castle's rampart to deliver a terrorist speech. Renovations were started in March 2023 by the Tripoli-based Government of National Unity, GNU, which came to power in 2021. in a UN-backed political process. Still in the news, the African Development Bank, AFDB, opened a donor pledging conference on Monday for its fund that lends money to low-income countries on favorable terms, seeking to offset a retreating U.S. support that threatened its $25 billion target. Earlier this year, the Trump administration withheld a $197 million tranche pledge in the previous replenishment round for the African Development Fund, ADF, raising doubt about Washington's contribution ahead of the two-day meeting in London. The AFDB, Africa's biggest development lender, said the U.S. would send a representative to the talks, but it remained unclear whether it would commit funds. Azerbaijan and Algeria have established a joint commission on trade, economic, scientific and technical cooperation, a trend which some media reports has carried. This is reflected in President Ilham Aliyev's decree approving the agreement on the establishment of a joint commission on trade, economic, scientific and technical cooperation between the government of the Republic of Azerbaijan and the government of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. The agreement signed in Algiers on November 4, 2025, comes in force under the decree. Following the entry into force of the agreement, the Cabinet of the Ministers of the Republic of Azerbaijan has been charged to ensure the implementation of its own provisions. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe has formally reserved 14 economic sectors exclusively for its citizens, while ordering foreign-owned businesses operating in designated industries to surrender a controlling 75% stake to locals within 3 years. The measures are contained in Statutory Instrument 215 of 2025, titled Indigenization and Economic Empowerment, Foreign Participation in Reserved Sectors, Regulations 2025, which requires foreign investors to offload a minimum of 25% equity annually to Zimbabweans, ensuring a phased but accelerated localization of ownership and control. Moving on to the business segment of the news bulletin, the South African rand gained in early trade on Monday, supported by higher gold prices as local investors look towards the year's last bit of economic data for clues on the health of Africa's most industrialized economy. At 0701 GMT, the rand traded at 16.84 against the dollar, the economy per cent, firmer than its previous close. Gold held near a more than 7-week high on Monday on a weaker dollar and a lower U.S. yield. And as a major producer of precious metals, South Africa often benefits from firmer bullion prices. Domestically focused traders will examine the South African Reserve Bank's bulletin for the third quarter, which is expected to be released at 0800 GMT, offering insight into quarterly foreign direct investment and portfolio flows. Later in the week, investors will look to November consumer inflation data and producer inflation figures. Still in the business segment, Egypt signed a contract with Qatar's Al Mana Holding for a first-phase investment on $200 million to produce sustainable aviation fuel from used cooking oil in the Suez Canal Economic Zone at an Ain Sokna, Egypt's cabinet told newsmen on Sunday. The project will be developed in 3 phases and will span 100,000 square meters in the integrated Sokna zone on Egypt's Red Sea coast. The first phase will have an estimated annual production capacity of 200,000 tons, the cabinet added. The deal marks the first Qatari industrial investment in the Suez Canal Economic Zone, according to Egypt. Moving on to the sports segment of the African news, Mohamed Salah heads for Morocco this week to captain Egypt in the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON amid uncertainty over his future at Liverpool. The 33-year-old came on as a substitute and seized his chance by setting up Liverpool's second goal for Hugo Ekitike. Salah had been left out of Liverpool's squad for Tuesday's Champions League victory at Inter Milan after his explosive rant about slot following the recent draw at Leeds. Salah came off the bench midway through the first half and set up the second goal in a 2-0 Premier League win over Brighton at the weekend. Egypt officially named their squad for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, with head coach Hossein Hassan opting for a group heavily built around home-based talent. The Pharaohs will face Nigeria in a turn-up match on December 16, and Salah has reportedly left England following Saturday's PL match to join up with the national team. That is it on the African News and Voice of the People television. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and across all the social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I am Fina Okechukwu. Do have a good afternoon.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Voice of the people. You can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokubo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikenna Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka, Amayanabo the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People television.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
2564 is coming up on Burning 9, right?
The 2564 Atlantic.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Bloc, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY, and of course, I represent the voice of the people, and that's why I'm on VOP. AY say so.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Miriam Tima from the Real Housewives of Lagos and the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Africa. Shout out to VOP, the voice of the people. You already know. Stay tuned, keep watching. And don't forget, VOP is the best.
All right, hello, I'm about that shagging man fine back with Melanie Poppy Black Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know why you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weight. Bye.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers, whatever, live it. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Ginny Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get drum! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react. Understand.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Hello everyone and welcome to another enlightening edition of Health Check, the program where we discuss key issues that affect our health and well-being right here on Voice of the People television. I'm Praise Peters, and as always, I'm delighted to bring you fresh energy and a deep commitment to unpacking health concerns in ways that are real, relevant, and of course, empowering. Well, remember, you can watch us live on SLTV channel 264 and follow us across all social media platforms at VOP TV Live. And today we're focusing on something really, really interesting, something very crucial, something very important, and very relatable, of course. Gut health and immunity. So we're going to be exploring why a healthy digestive system is crucial for overall well-being, how it impacts immunity, and what we can basically do to protect it. So in case you do not know, our gut is more than just a stomach. It actually includes the intestines, the hosts, the trillions of bacteria and microbes known as the gut microbiome. And it plays a central role in digestion, nutrient absorption, and even immunity. So I don't know, but do you know that about 70% of our immune system resides in the gut? That's how vital it is to maintain a very healthy digestive system, of course. So to help us understand this better, we're joined today by a highly experienced and respected guest, in person of Dr. Onileowo Damilola, a medical practitioner with over 10 years of experience and a wellness practitioner for 7 years, dedicated to preventive health and lifestyle improvements. You're very welcome, doctor.
Oh, thank you very much.
Welcome to Health Check. It's good to have you on the show.
Same here.
All right. So, doctor, how have you been? How's your week been? How's everything? And how's the profession going?
It's been good so far. We've been good.
All right. So, I'd like to just ask this very quickly.
Yes.
What's one thing that you really, really practice as a doctor that you know is very important to every individual out there that they should practice as well?
Well, eating well, primarily.
Eating well,
yes.
balanced diet, or eating well is wide.
Yeah, true.
You can say eating well like eating good food,
True.
or eating well like eating to your satisfaction, or eating people like me now that do junk. Meat pie. I love all those things. So specify what type of eating well.
So eating good food, that's one, and then eating at the appropriate time. So those two things.
So we midnight foodies. What do you say to us?
Not appropriate.
All right. So we're even going to be talking about the gut, digestion, and all of that. So let's start with the basics real quick. So what exactly is the gut? And why is it so important for our overall health?
Okay, so the gut is a hollow passageway that runs from the mouth down to the anus, passing through the esophagus and the neck, down to the stomach, and to the intestines. So it passes all through the intestines and then comes out as waste. So primarily it's used for nutrients and for waste evacuation from the system.
Oh.
Yeah, so absorbing of nutrients and then waste evacuation from the system.
All right, so how does the gut really influence our immune system and help fight the body infections and all of that?
Oh, yeah. So there are a lot of pathways, especially in the intestines, where these nutrients get absorbed and they help fight any immune body system that the body can have. It also has a lot of bacteria, viruses that help fighting off infections. That also helps with fighting off against any outside invaders. So they fight against invaders, protecting their own space. So it helps overall. And weirdly enough, it also helps with the moods. So if you're feeling, yes.
Really? How?
Yeah. So, 90% of serotonin, the thing that controls every human being's mood, is produced in the gut. So, yeah, if you're feeling sad or you feel something
we don't hear this word enough. I used to think that the part of the body inside is just the stomach and all those. I never knew that the gut was this important.
Oh, it is quite important. And it's quite fun too. That's one of the reasons why people that work on the gut primarily, they have a lot of cases where they help out all patients.
All right, so can you explain precisely the role of the gut microbiome in keeping us healthy?
Okay, so like I said, they fight off foreign bodies. They also help process any foods that enter the stomach at any point in time. So the processing starts from the mouth all the way down to your large intestine. Then it comes out through the rectal region. The main part that does almost all the nutrients production is the small intestine. That's the main factory of all the absorption of most of the nutrients. So by the time it's getting into the large intestine, it's just being processed as waste a lot of the times. But a majority of the absorption is done there. And so that's the primary place for the immune system. That if that place gets messed up, you can have a lot of chronic diseases.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the best place for...
Okay, talking about getting messed up, what are the things that could make the gut messed up?
Okay, so it depends on what you eat and how much you eat. And the timing, like I said, the timing too also works. So if you eat, like, let's say junk that you're saying, for instance, now, like, let's say you eat smoked food, the body, once it enters the body processes things that goes to fight against those kind of meals. And it's like, oh, this is a foreign body, tries to attack. So people that eat a lot of it just do a lot of damage to...
Is it eating a lot of it or eating it at all?
So, eating it at all, the body can still fight it off quite quickly.
But eating it consistently
causes long-term damage. So it's like a damage that doesn't repair fully, that just keeps damaging and damaging and damaging.
Wow. Okay, the body tends to repair itself?
Yes.
Wow.
So God is a very, very good designer.
All right,
Yeah.
I understand. But can you be more specific on the kind of foods that could damage the guts? You know, you talked about smoked foods. I don't know. Just can you put more light on this so we'll know what to avoid and what to keep taking?
Okay, so high sugar foods doesn't help. Foods high in fats also doesn't help. Then junk foods in general, carbonated drinks, things like extremely fried foods. Those things don't help overall long term. But I know it's very, very delicious, but
exactly. Are we
it
supposed
doesn't
to?
help.
How do we now do away with what we like?
So I tell people just eat as little as possible and eat more of the good food. If you eat more of the good food and eat those things maybe 2-3 times in a week, it's not going to do as much damage as if you eat it every single day of the week and then...
Okay, talking about timing, what's the most appropriate time to eat?
Okay, so breakfast...
Some people take their breakfast at 7 p.m.
No.
And I know some of them.
Yeah.
Some people take their breakfast in the afternoon, while some fast, but we really want to know what's healthy, you know.
Okay, so...
And some people take their dinner at midnight, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Maybe
I see a lot of people that do that too. So, but breakfast generally should be around 7 to 8 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, so something light, like maybe something with low cereal, little milk. Another thing again, people do tend to take a lot of milk every day, and I'm like, no, it's meant to be something that...
so excess usage of milk is not
so good, especially for we blacks. We are mostly lactose intolerant, from what they're saying. I don't know how accurate it is, but they're saying lactose intolerance is more in the black community than in the foreigner. So you tend to see a lot of milk, and you're like, why are you drinking this much milk? Like, it's good for the body. But no,
and most of us take it every morning.
Yeah.
Milk, tea,
so
those things.
Then I see some taking caffeine like about 3-4 times a day. I'm like, why are you doing this much punishment? It's not good. But I try to advise as much as possible. Take all those things very seldom. Eat something light in the morning, maybe fruits. That's good as well. If you take fruits in the morning, then you can do lunch something heavy, like let's say around 2-3. That's not so bad. Then dinner by 7-8 max. You should have taken dinner, and so that you can walk it off before you go to sleep by 9-10. So you can do a light exercise right before you sleep. Maybe just walk around.
But you know, I've once heard that eating late is not so bad if you're not going to sleep immediately. How true is that? Because some people tend to be nocturnal and they work overnight, read overnight, or stuff like that.
But they don't.
And at
they
some
don't
point,
move
they might
around
get
overnight.
hungry.
So that's the thing. They don't move around overnight. You walk. Maybe you're doing something on your laptop. You're not really process. Okay, so the thing with the way the body works, you eat. Let's say your body's telling you, "I'm hungry. I'm hungry." You eat. You like sometimes you tend to overeat. So your body has taken more than the adequate amount of fat. Then there's this hormone called insulin. It comes in, uses the one that it wants to use for energy, then sees that, okay, now I have to dump the rest. Where do I dump this to? Then it processes as fats, and the most common place where it dumps it is your abdomen, and then you start having the big tummies, and then you start saying, oh my God,
Okay.
why am I having big tummy?
That explains big tummy.
Yeah, so for people that eat at night, especially late in the night, they're the ones that develop those kind of tummy. So it's like, and that's a precursor for diabetes. So I try to tell people, don't eat too late. Just eat 7, 8, then walk, do a 30-minute walk, and you should be fine.
All right, so let's move to the signs that someone's gut is not working properly. Because the major aim of this program is to create awareness and to give the right information to the masses. So we need to know how we can detect these things early. So what are the common signs to know that, okay, this my gut, I think it's not working as
well as
good
it
as
should.
it should. So how do we know that?
So feeling of bloating, that's when your stomach feels full, even though you didn't even eat a quarter of what you usually eat. When you don't pass excretion as much as possible. So let's say typically you go once a day and you've not gone like 2-3 days. You have watery stool. You also have when you're vomiting. Vomiting is one of the last signs that, okay, yes, your gut is not functioning properly. There's something that needs to be done as soon as possible. So that means the lining of the intestine at one point is inflamed and it's causing you to expel everything that is in your tummy one way or the other.
All right, you talked about excretion.
Yes.
How often should that happen? Normally, what's the right amount?
Typically, once a day is okay. Once a day of like solids to pasty, but not like, oh, my poop needs to be like strong. If it's strong, it's not good as well. That means you need to take more liquids. And that's another thing we're going to talk about. Liquid is very, very important in diet. Like you must drink a lot of fluid, water preferably. So drinking lots of fluid, make sure
we can't switch the water with maybe juice or something.
You can drink juice. It's not that you can't, but juice comes with its own level of carbohydrate and all that, and
sugar.
Yeah, so it's just adding to what you've already eaten, and it's
so water is most appropriate.
Yes. With water, you don't have any fear of gaining any fat from water. You can just drink your water in peace, and it comes with also the fullness. Like you don't need to eat like big. You just eat a small portion and drink lots of water, and you still feel the same as someone that eats the whole plate in the world and then drank with water.
Okay, I'm quite interested in the bloating aspect, right?
Okay.
I know a lot of people that bloat on a normal day, and it's very, very consistent. What are the seeming symptoms? Okay, not symptom. What are the seeming causes of bloating? Is it just based on this gut thing, or there is more to it?
There are some that say that it could be due to the menstrual, but it's still based on the gut at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, it comes down to your gut moving slowly than usual. So typically, your gut is meant to move at a certain pace. If it's moving too fast, causes diarrhea. If it's moving too slow, causes bloating, constipation, all those other things. So if it's moving too slow, that's when you see that you're full more than necessary, because either your tummy is filled with gas or it's filled with the food that it has not come out the proper way. So that in itself is not a good sign and can cause problems down the road.
All right, so for emphasis purposes, let's look at diet, lifestyle, all of those things. So are there particular foods that can keep our guts healthy?
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
Can you precisely name them?
Vegetables, fruits, we already know a lot of them. Then less carbohydrates, more proteins. Then you do low fiber diets. You do more of onions, tomatoes in your food than celery, cabbage. Put them in your food, mix them up. Then eat lots of fruits. and drink a lot of water, like I said. If you do that and you don't take all the, oh my God, I must eat all the chicken shawarma in the whole world, I must take all the suyas. I'm like, yeah, it's good when you're eating it, but it's a lot of punishment down the road.
On your body.
Yeah.
All right. So we should be more considerate about our health,
Yes.
not just about what is sweet to us.
Yes. So it's like someone told me once that nothing good comes without a little bit of discomfort. So I know that taking that sweet thing is very, very nice, feels good. But you think about the downside and you're like, okay, let me just avoid this and
for your own good. All right. So you've mentioned eating late.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned taking lots of liquid. Are there other habits that could keep our guts healthy?
Oh, yes. Exercising properly helps. Then immediately after meal, just a light exercise would do the trick most of the time.
Most of us, immediately after eating, we like to just sit down. They said we want the food to come down. So is that the right way, or we should try to walk about?
Walking about is better than sitting down. Now, sitting down is better than lying down, don't get me wrong, but walking about is definitely better than sitting down. It will help your body process the food into the right places, and within that first 1 hour, your body is processing more of the food than within the next 3 hours that it will empty the bowel completely. So that first 1 hour, you just do a slight walk, 30 minutes maximum. Your body is going to be like, okay, this person needs a lot more energy, so it's going to put more energy, more effort into producing energy than producing fat. And at the point in time, it will produce energy, give to your legs, produce energy, give to your hands. You'll be more active. You'll even feel better overall than if you're just sitting down. Now, sitting down, it has its advantages, don't get me wrong. Like, you can sit down and you can have fun talking to your friends, relaxing, but moving around overall is way better than just sitting down.
Okay, so what about lying down? What effect does that
The problem with lying down is that your body assumes that you're at a state of rest and it just produces more fat than energy.
Wow.
So that's why anybody telling you what to eat at night will tell you eat something light. Because at that point in time, your body is thinking, oh, this person's at rest. Let me just convert everything to fat and not bother this person about energy. So you don't, even no matter what you eat, you don't feel so amped up and start doing. But if you're already the type that used to maybe you a gym at night, because there's some people that just go to the gym in the middle of the night, your body is always processing energy. This guy's going to need energy. Let's process more into energy, and then overall you get so amped up, you do a lot of things. But if you're the type that you're already used to, oh, I'm just going to relax at night, your body is already used to a certain routine. It's going to be like, this person is going to need more rest. Let's just give him a little bit of energy so that he can function and then process the rest into fats. It's not going to do much this night. So your own body is telling you that, I already know you. You're not going to do so much of a program this night. Let's just call it a night and go to sleep. But if you do this routine things, even if it's a little bit of exercise, the body is going to feel like it needs to give you more energy so that you can outperform the day. And as the years go by, that's going to be more beneficial because your insulin is always going to be as working to rest. It's not just going to be working non-stop, where it's producing more fats, and then you won't be obese, and then it won't get to a point where you have diabetes because your insulin has stopped doing the rest necessary things. So those overall help with the gut.
All right, so let's talk about high sugar intake.
Okay.
How does this affect the gut?
Okay, so
because sometimes we take sugar and we do not know that we are taking sugar. For example, I read that there is a high amount of sugar in rice.
Yes.
And this is just normal food. Like, come on, who doesn't like rice?
Right.
So when we hear sugar, we tend to only think that sugar, the one you put in gari, or when you're taking it raw, or when you're taking juice, or when you're taking a very sweet or something. But we tend to forget that there are certain amounts of sugar in very normal, basic, everyday, food. So how does this affect the guts, basically?
Okay, so first, let's tackle the idea of the sugar part. Like, almost all foods contain sugar.
Exactly.
That's the first thing. Almost all. Then the level of sugar that it contains. So once we classify food as carbohydrates, it contains more sugar than almost all the other foods. And the basic thing for sugar is so that you can have energy. That's the primary role of eating those things. It's not to consume to the point where you start gaining a lot of weight. Because I see some people say, I need to gain weight. I'm like, you don't know how much side effect this is to your body. You shouldn't gain a lot of weight. You should just gain the bare minimum so that you can function into the next day. Like you see a lot of people that if they maintain their figures going into their 40s, 50s, they are still more agile than someone that has gained an exorbitant amount of weight and can't really do much anymore. And it's like, oh, I'm always tired. I'm like, yeah, because you've put your body through a lot of things in the past. Then for foods in general about carbohydrates, so the way carbohydrates works in the stomach is it starts being processed from the mouth, breaks it down. So by the time it gets into the gut, it is producing a sugar. So there are different levels of sugar in our science. That's why whenever we say sugar, people think, oh, it's sugary stuff. No, it's just food that has been broken down into sugar in your body. So once that's broken down into sugar, the body now decides, do I use it as energy or do I convert it into fat storage? And the reason why it's converting into fat storage is so that it can break it down at a later date and use it as sugar. So overall, your body needs sugar for almost everything that it does. To think, to move, to react to things, act to things. Even for the guts to be moving, it still needs those energy storage. So that's why a human body can go like about 1 to 2 weeks without eating anything and it will still be fine. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
But it feels like if you have not eaten for the day, you're about to die.
So that's a signal from the tummy when it's empty. It's empty. It tells you, oh, it needs to be refilled.
Okay.
But
It's not like anything will happen to you.
that's just a signal from God that tells you, okay, you need to refill. But in actual fact, you don't need to refill every time you're hungry. You can go hungry for a few days and you'd still be fine.
As long as you're taking water.
Exactly. You can't go without water for a day.
Okay.
But you can go hungry for a day.
All right, so are you saying we should take more protein than carbohydrates?
Yes. Overall, take more proteins and more fruits than carbohydrates. If you do that, so my idea for diet, now this has not been confirmed, but my idea for diet is eat fruits in the morning, take a heavy carbohydrate in the afternoon, and eat something light in the evening.
Fruits in the morning?
Like, let's say something like rice in the afternoon, and then at night, go for maybe fruits, anything light that you can think is light, and it's not going to just accumulate in your system. And you would even feel lighter overall moving.
All right. So let's talk about probiotics now.
Okay.
So what role does probiotics play in gut health? And fermented food like yogurt, I heard that you're really good.
Yes.
So can you put more light on that?
Okay, so probiotics, what they help is they help stabilize the normal flora. That's the normal bacteria and viruses in the gut. So if you have more probiotics, if you take it to help build more, and then your body develops immune system against any foreign invaders. The thing with some people I've seen is sometimes they take a little bit too much and the thing overgrows and causes more problems. So typically your normal flora should develop to a certain level. It should not grow too much, it should not grow too little. Growing too much can cause, especially for women, it can cause UTIs and other diseases. And then growing too little, it will cause a lot of infections, chronic diseases, sometimes cancer as well.
Okay, but for the sake of the viewers that do not really know what probiotics mean, can you break down what it means on examples? Is it just yogurt and all of that?
Okay, so probiotics are foods that support the growth of bacteria in the gut. So milk is one of them, yogurt is one of them, cheese, I think, is also another one. I'm not 100% sure, but there's this thing that they call fura. I'm not sure if you know what it is, but I don't know what it is in English, but that's another version of it. So things like that are overall good for the guts. Like if you take once in a while, like let's say once or twice in a week, it's very good for the body.
You talked about physical activity helping the guts, like exercises and all of that. So what about sleeping patterns, stress levels? What habits literally affect the guts?
Okay, so sleeping pattern can affect the guts, especially if you're the type that uses caffeine to not sleep at night. that kind of thing can affect the guts. But overall, most habits don't really affect the gut as much as possible.
Okay.
It's just the more you move your body, the more the gut wants to process things faster for you so that you can get more energy. So exercises affect the guts. Well, poor sleep can affect the guts, but other than that, most of the things you do is the gut that affects, not the other way around.
Oh, all right.
Like if you are extremely happy, for instance, now your gut probably had something to do with it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You talked about it affecting the mood.
Yes.
Okay, so what are the common causes of digestive infections?
Okay, so the most common ones are the ones that cause the acute problems most of the time. That's the diarrhea, constipation, vomiting, those kind of things. So we have things like dysentery, cholera. I know there was a recent outbreak a few months ago.
Yes,
So those are the common ones we have in
crazy.
Nigeria. And then the ones that occur in the normal gut that overgrow sometimes, like E. coli. So E. coli can cause diarrhea. Those are the things that we see commonly in Nigeria.
So what usually causes these
So
different digestive infections?
a lot of them are from eating something bad. So
food poisoning?
Yes. So if you eat something not so good, or not properly cooked, or not properly washed, it can cause all these things. Like, let's say, for instance, people that don't wash their hands and then they go pick up fruits and they start eating it, and then they transfer that from their hands to their mouth down to the tummy, and then they come down with diarrhea and they're like, oh my God. Then also,